have had the God-given opportunity to go into prisons and talk to prisoners. And I count it as a privilege. I will be honest. In the earlies, my friend Roger Griffith would invite me, and I found every excuse in the world, besides I was traveling, to go into the prisons. Me going to prison to do what? Dion, come and talk to prisoners. I found every excuse in the world, but eventually I went, right? After a few years, by the way, I went, and talking with the prisoners, I felt very unsafe, but then realized that I had security with me, and so on. Like, okay, all right, I think I'm cool here. And then what happened was that when you start talking to the guys, a lot of these guys, they had the pain of regret. I should have listened to my mom. I should listen to my dad. I should listen to my siblings. I should listen to my grandmother, my grandfather. And some of these kids did not want to listen. They didn't want to listen. They didn't want to take it on. They didn't want to, like, I'm not listening to these people. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to be a, you know, and guess what? Things went along and they ended up with the pain of regret. And then because when you do things wrong, eventually you get caught. And then you have to deal with the court and you have to deal with the police. And yes, God is forgiving. And I've known many people who have turned their life around. Right? But if you have that pain of discipline, then guess what? There's a chance of you doing what? Of excelling. We all want things. You know, we all want nice things. But if we work for that stuff, we can get it. We can achieve it. Listen to me. It's not just about driving the most fancy car and doing all the most fancy things. No, you got to be humble in life. You got to be content, because it's my belief that we are blessed to be a blessing. Right? We are blessed to be a blessing. You have a meal, you can share with somebody else. Right? And that is about being a nice person. Right? Be a nice person. Be a nice person. Be that loving, kind, caring person. Right? You know how you conduct yourself. All right? So they say that the heights or levels that great men reach and kept was not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, toiled throughout the night. Let me say that again. The heights or levels that great men reach and kept, and that is great men and women reach and kept, was not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions, they toiled while their companions slept. So sometimes you got to make that sacrifice, right? Again, full disclosure, I didn't do too well in school, right? Didn't do too well in school. But guess what? Now I'm at the University of the West Indies doing a postgrad diploma in sports management. So there is hope. There is hope.
Yes,
right? There is hope. And I remember persistence. I love it. You gotta have that persistence. You gotta have that persistence. Roy, you have such brilliant people on. You gotta have that persistence. Right? I remember Shaka Hislop, we're good friends, and Shaka was telling Brent Rahim, you know, I was privy to that conversation. Brent, you gotta do your school. You gotta get your degree. There's and of course Shaka, we all know, you know, he's big on ESPN now. He played for Trinidad, he played for a bunch of top clubs in the world. And guess what? Reading and those big clubs were coming in for him. And Shaka said, let me finish my degree first. And I think he had some sort of internship also at NASA. And then after that, the rest is history. So he saw how important education was, because sad to say, today or tomorrow you get an injury, and what like happened with me, a career and then injury, then what next? What next? I'm not saying don't pursue your dreams to become a top player and make the sacrifices, but at the same time, keep the academics there. Keep the academics there. Because you never know when you'll need it. You never know when you'll need it. So I know I rambled on for a little bit. That's a little bit of my journey, and if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Dion. You didn't ramble on. It's very, very interesting information, Dion. Very interesting information that you shared with us, because there's a number of points we could pull out from in there. Determination, faith, belief, perseverance, persistence, consistent, striving to go forward, believing in oneself, trying your best. You fell down, you get back up. And one of the things I would come away from it too is that God has a way of getting you where he wants you to go, when he's ready to get you there, and he will work with you to get you there. But you have a part to play in this. And this is what a lot of people, a lot of kids need to understand. You have a role to play in where you're going. You're not going to just sit down and you're going to end up there. You got to work towards it. You got to put in the effort. You got to do the research. You got to put in the time in it. And it's so important that you remain focused and understand what it takes to achieve what you're trying to achieve. Because I think that is something we don't really put a lot of emphasis on, and we need to. You know, I want to be a soccer player, or I want to go to university, and we don't do any research on it. We don't gather the information. We just want to go and do something. Okay, yeah, it's good if you want to go do it. But how are you going to go about it? You know, investing your time to gather the information. And when you gather that information, how you're going to use that information to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve. And these are critical things we need to really look at in terms of heading out to college, or, you know, university, junior college, playing semi-professional soccer, playing soccer, anything in life. You want to gather the information. You don't want to end up in a place by guess. Be great, yes.
Don't be great. Don't be good. Be great. The people who make the Hall of Fame is not the one who does the bicycle kick and score. Is the one who do the right things consistently. Consistently. Get it day in, day out. You are doing what it takes. Right? The one who, here where I'm going with this, the one who would train twice on Christmas Day. Because your competitor will train once. So you training twice on Christmas Day. Right? I remember I was at the stadium one time, and our national athletes were training, and Atto Bolden and all the different guys, and rain started to fall, and all the athletes went and shelter except Atto Bolden, and I went, no wonder he has quite a few Olympic medals. There was no lightning, and he said, rain, no problem, I'm still training. So he found a way. He found a way. He found a way. I remember talking to, and again, these are God-given opportunities. I remember talking to our Olympic athlete, Hazley Crawford, who won in I think it's 1977. And he said, you know, the things that he would do to train, he didn't have the sophistication in a lot of cases like the top athletes around the world. But things he would do, just standing on his toes over and over to work his calves over and over, you know, till his foot will cramp. How many of those things he did? It's kind of like that Rocky story. You see the Russian and all the fancy gym and Rocky's there lifting logs and cutting down trees. Where there's a will, there's a way. You know, don't make excuses. I can't. I know you can't. You can't. And this journey sometimes can be a little bit lonely. That's why you gotta motivate yourself, because it's, you know, if I'm going to Mount Everest, I don't want to go by myself. You know, I'll take the Sherpas and whoever have to go with me, right? But sometimes it gets a little bit, because somebody will say to you, you know what, Dion, when you get up there, take some fantastic pictures. Show me when you come back down. You'll sign an autograph for me, we'll be friends. But some of them don't want to do what it takes. Dwight York, Calvin Hutchinson. Aston Villa is touring Trinidad. Calvin Hutchinson is better than Dwight York. That was a fact. They both go to England to train on a trial. And Calvin says to Dwight, man, this place is real cold. My toes in my shoes real bothering me. I mean, this place is cold. Dwight says, man, that's you. I am going to make it. The rest is history. It's just mentality. One saw an obstacle, the other one saw an opportunity. Right? So don't let anybody talk you out of your success, of where you want to go. It wouldn't be easy. It won't be easy. I mean, I saw a brilliant video once of Olympic athletes who failed in their first Olympics, and some of them their second Olympics, and came back and won in their third Olympics because they wanted to persevere. When they got to the third Olympics, they said, no, they passed their prime. Yeah, but they had the mentality. They had the mentality. right? All of us, I mean, I talked to Brian Lara, and at times when he felt he wanted to give up, but he had to stick it through because it's not easy. Again, we talk about that responsibility that you have when people put the pressure on you. You miss a goal, you don't score some runs in cricket, everybody coming up because the expectation is high. To whom much is given, much is required. Let me say that again. To whom much is given, much is required. You guys, your parents are making lots of sacrifice, and I know Anthony and they are trying their best to get different things in place for you guys because it's not easy. Because a college coach, he gets hundreds of people applying for their school. So what makes you stand out? And sometimes, here I'm going again, it could be being a good person. In high school, you decided to do a project to help people, help all the citizens. And they look and say, yeah, oh, that's the kind of student we want in our university. This is a great person. He's going to impact the program, but also be a model student for the university. So it's not just about having the talent and the skill. That's important. You need those tools. You need that. You need the tactical knowledge, but you want to be a good person, right? If you want to be a leader, right? And we got to know how to deal with. Sad to say, what about the coach who's under pressure and sometimes pass that pressure on to you? How do you deal with that pressure? How do you rise above it? And I talk to university students all the time. They call me and they say, Coach, my coach is coming down on me a little bit too much. Right? And we have to learn, and it's not easy, how to hear the message and not the messenger. Right? These are things that you practice. These are things that you practice. Right? How you deal with failure. Right? It's not if you fall down, it's when you fall down, how fast you get back up. How fast can you bounce back on your feet? Or are you going to cry over spilled milk? The milk is already spilled. Let's move on. Let's move on. That type of attitude, right? I remember I was so motivated by a kid in Colorado. I couldn't believe it. His father called me and said, Dion, you know, my kid gets up at 6 o'clock and train on mornings before he goes to school, right? 11 years old. And I basically said in my mind, this guy is just trying to impress me. And his son, and everybody in America said the kids are great. And I said, no. But it turned out to be true. That kid inspired me, and I started to go and work with him. That was an inspiration for me, that this kid would make the sacrifice to get up and train before he go. A young kid. So think of the mentality and the attitude that that kid developed from a young age. I was at Liverpool Academy, right? Jurgen Klopp came over to the academy, and here what he told the under 18 players. He said you have to be a professional before you're a professional. Oh, let me take that one through. Wait, let me say that again. You have to be a professional before you're a professional. And what he really meant is that you need to have a professional attitude and display that professionalism so that when I ask about a player coming over, the coaches say, oh, John, take John Brown because he has the attitude. So he said, when you guys have the attitude, not just the skill, I'll bring you over. That was profound. Simple words again, but profound. So one kid said to me, Coach, when I make it to Manchester United, I'll take it serious. Well, I have to be honest with you, you never made it. Somebody will reward you for what you have. Yes, at these clubs, they have the sports science and they have the coaches, right? You need to have the right attitude. You need to have the right attitude, because with that attitude, I could give you all many stories and I give God all the glory, right? I've been coaching for 35 years, so I have some experience, right? I give you God all the glory of so many talented players, but they never made it because they didn't have the right attitude or the discipline, which weighs in ounces, to take them where they needed to go. You got to come to practice on time. You got to go to bed on time. You got to eat. Now we have social media, right? Social media. But guess what? Hey, I got to put the phone up. Last night, and I'm not boasting, I won't call the player's name. I'm talking to one of our senior national players. And he said, Coach, you know, when we finish this call, I got to put my phone on silent mode, right? I sort of a sleep mode. I said, you put your phone on a sleep mode? He said, yeah, I got to get my rest. I'm training tomorrow again. I'm like, wow. Right? You got to make a sacrifice, because what we try to do sometimes is we try to burn the candle on the both ends. You can't burn the candles at the boat end. When sometimes you gotta tell your friends, and that's a sacrifice. Hey, I would love to hang out, but I got training in the morning. I'll catch you guys up another time. Right? Sometimes it's about eating the right stuff. And it's very tempting. Right? And of course, I know economic situations because I went through it. You don't always have the right meals and so, but when you can have the correct meals, eat properly, rest properly. I read an article and from Real Madrid, Real Madrid players sleeping to the way of success. And what it was, they had this scientific thing that when they finish training, they had to rest. And of course, the club had the money. All those things are there for the players. So there are opportunities for you there. There are opportunities for you. Don't tell yourself that you could make it. Don't let anybody in the world put any doubt in your mind. You don't put your own doubt in your mind. You go beyond your wildest dreams. If we talk to top athletes in the world and they will tell you when they started, how they got there, and the obstacles they had to go through, all of them, we look at the guys making the big checks and signing the autographs and driving the fancy cars and not knowing that they got to go through sacrifice. The boys or the girls on the call, you want to buy your boyfriend or your girlfriend a diamond, right? But a diamond is really a piece of coal that they put under pressure to become a diamond. That's what coal is. That's how you make a diamond. And guess what? You get the most beautiful diamond, you're gonna pay a lot of money for what it is. So you guys have the world in front of you. Have the world in front of you. And if you have God on your side, trust me, read a psalm, read the Proverbs, because with God, beyond your, because you know the thing about God, what I've realized, two things. One, if you keep giving God the glory, God will exalt you. If you exalt yourself, God will humble you. When a man exalts himself, God humbles you. When you say, you know what, I win a race, I score a goal, I'm talking to the press, I'm talking to the media. That's my, I thank God for the opportunity. Yes, I had to do the training and all that stuff. But that's a little secret, guys. You keep giving God the glory. Guess what? God is saying, you're putting me first. And once you have faith in God, I believe you can help me make it. And because God is not a man that he should lie. Because you basically, you take God out of the box and you say, you know what, God, I believe you can help me do this. And because of your faith, and they say what? If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you could move a mountain. And I'm telling you guys, some of the things I've experienced in life, that has happened. That has happened. Right? Because of the faith I had. And there are times, I'll be honest, there are times I doubted myself, but I don't stay there for long. I don't stay there for long. Put God first. I don't stay there for long. Because what I've learned, with depression comes oppression. Don't entertain depression. Mr. Depression come. Yeah, I didn't make the team this week. Guess what? I'm going to keep going until I make that team. Because, and guess what? I'm not taking on the depression. You know what? Maybe I'm going to do something that my coach is going to say, you know what? I just have to give this kid a chance because this kid is like, right? I remember recently one of the players said he created his own spot on the team, right? There's a boy called Andrew Weber. This is a true story, guy. Google it. University of Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech. Google it. He's now a junior or senior. When I met Andrew in his life in Virginia. And Andrew, real cool kid, real nice kid, real humble, everything. He got a scholarship for Virginia Tech, but when he went there, the coach said, you can't make this team. You can't make the team. You can't make the team. And you guys will be shocked what Andrew did. Of course, disappointed. He's a boy. Andrew decided, he went to the women's coach of the school and asked them if he could train with the girls. Of course, the female coach said yes. The women's coach said yes. And the girls were laughing at him. This boy is here to play soccer with us. What is he doing here? He has to be a bit crazy. He just wanted to train. And he trained and did extra training and he did sports science and he got into the gym and different things. And he eventually, the coach said that to him. He told me that a few weeks ago. Coach said to him, I only picked you because you created a spot on this team for yourself. There was no spot for you. You created that spot for yourself. Anthony, hear what I'm telling you? I told him, I said, Andrew, I'll be using your name all over the world, buddy, because it's really inspirational. A lot of kids will have given up. A lot of kids will have given up and not, well, the coach didn't like me, the coach didn't pick me. So what? It's subjective. Another coach will like you. Dwight York, playing for Aston Villa, sitting on the bench. Ron Atkinson is a coach. Didn't care for him. He was putting Tony Daly in. I know these things because I know these guys, right? Guess what? Ron Atkinson lost his job, right? Because he wasn't winning. Brian Little, the assistant coach, gets the job and said, Dwight, you know what? I'm going to give you a few weeks and I'm going to start you. Here, Dwight's response. Oh, you're going to give me a chance? Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to score a bunch of goals for you. And guess what? The rest is history. Start scoring a bunch of goals for Aston Villa, and then all of a sudden, at that time, most expensive striker in the world. Went to Man United, and of course, the rest is history. And Dwight plays with a smile on his face. If you watch how he plays with a smile on his face. And there are many Dwight Yorks, right? So I don't want you, and this question came up recently, and I want you guys to think about this. If I ask you who you want to be like, some of you guys say Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mia Hamm, and you start calling names. And I have a little problem with that. They are good players, but what kind of people are they? They could be great on the field, and off the field, they're not doing the right things in terms of they're not nice people. So you want to be you. You want to be you. Walk a trail that nobody else has walked. Let me say that again. Walk a trail that nobody else has walked. You blaze your own trail. Somebody says, well, nobody in this school has scored so many goals. Or goalkeeper, nobody has ever had so many shutouts. Hey, I tell my coach, this is not boasting. I'm going to leave a record at this school for you guys. And I hope somebody breaks it too, because the school will keep improving. But I'm going to leave a record for you guys. Right? And it's about being humble. Right? Don't be too big for your shoes. Because with success comes the media, people talking to you, tell you you're doing a great job. You got to know how to be humble. Point them towards God. God gave me this ability. Yes, I have to work. Right? But don't become arrogant. You don't have to be arrogant. It's about being humble, right? Being humble. Because honestly, you need some arrogance on the field. I'm going to score this goal. But when you're leaving, crossing back over those white lines, leave it there. Don't take it back off the field. The game itself will humble you. The game itself has a way of humbling you. Every time Lionel Messi walks onto the field, he wants to score a goal. Every time. Does he score a goal every game? No. But the passion is always there to score. So the game itself humbles you. You get some good defenders, some guys, as they say, park the bus. But you want to be the best that you can be.